Hi, my name is Nathan Rossman, design engineer working with Paul Downs Cabinet Makers. I've been working with Paul for just about 22 years now. Paul Downs, here's Paul right here. Paul founded the company in 1986. He was a graduate from Penn University here in Philadelphia. We were building residential furniture for folks for many, many years. One of our clients, Mr. Lippincott, asked if we would fabricate a boardroom table. So we did that. We put that image on our very first website, and for whatever good fortune, Google decided that it was going to take that particular image, and then anytime someone would search for boardroom tables, it would return that image. So we found our focus, and that was on custom conference tables. So here you can see thousands and thousands of tables. Here's our very excellent reviews from a lot of our very, very happy clients. My role here at the company is design engineer. So what that means for you folks is that I spend most of my day designing and creating custom pieces of furniture for folks, from anywhere from the Inter-American Development Bank in Washington, D.C., to the oldest lumber company in the United States, Hancock Lumber. So I have the great fortune and opportunity to design really unique and fun things for people. Here's one. They had a section of a tree in the center of their table backlit. So get to do some fun things. What does that mean for Jones Foster? Well, what I've done here is created a 3D model for your space. And I wanted to review each of those rooms and each of the designs and talk through what we plan to do. Ed and Susan and I have been spending some time talking about finishes for the space and really working out what would be the best solution for your new renovated offices. So we spent some time meeting with Larry, Theo, Scott, David, and Peter reviewing this, but we thought it would be helpful for everyone else involved in the project to take a look at this video so they have a clear understanding of what the intention is. So I'm going to start room by room. We've got these two small auxiliary rooms. These are going to have two small 36 by 36 inch tables. It's a small room, small table, enough to seat 3 folks in there, with the option of having a 4th chair in the room should you need to pull that table away from the wall and have 4 people meeting in that space. What you're looking at here is a single piece top. The top is a combination of solid walnut and walnut veneer. So walnut veneer is very, very thin sliced wood. What you're looking at here in the top, so if I go around this little square right here, this is the field, which is the center of the table. This is quarter cut walnut. The edge of the table is 3-inch wide by 1.5 thick solid dimensional lumber. Quick tutorial on what I mean when I say that. So the center of the table is wood veneer, again, sliced very thin. And so when we talk about wood veneer, you're talking about using wood from the same tree. So you take a tree and you slice it up very thin, and your yield is much greater. So you can cover a lot more space. So in order to keep all the pieces of furniture and all the tables in the facility matching, same color, same pattern, the table tops, the fields of each table, we will be using quarter cut walnut. It's nice straight grain material, and it creates a consistent pattern and color across all the tables. Now, when I talk about the edges of the table, we're talking about dimensional solid wood. So here's solid wood. We're talking about 8-quarter thick solid walnut that's processed and cut and glued to an edge of a panel to create that solid wood frame that we have on this table design. So back to this table, solid wood perimeter, walnut veneer in the center. Now I can tell you the core of that top is 1.1 inches thick. So there'll be a small little ledge. So solid wood, 1.5 inches by 3 inches. Edge profile is what we have here. It's called the Gavin edge profile. It's a nice little subtle kind of cut back, little knife edge there with an 1/8 inch round over on the top. This is the same edge profile that we're going to have on all the tables. The base of this table is going to be a polished chrome. This program doesn't do a great job at showing it here, but if I process a rendering, you can see here that with the polished accents on the chairs, the base matching polished chrome would be a nice accent and sort of tie those together. So that's a look at what that would be. Moving on, the next tables that we have are these two smaller breakout conference rooms. These rooms will have a table that's 72 inches long and 42 inches wide. And as we sort of go through and sort of walk towards that room, so here's the view sort of outside. We've got some nice glass panel walls, beautiful doors. And as we walk towards that, get into the room, you can see here. So this table is a little bit different in that the top of this table is going to have a piece of glass. That glass is 3/8 inch thick. It's going to have an eased edge, and it's going to be back painted white. Underneath that piece of glass is a subtop, and that subtop is there to connect parts and pieces together and also give support to that glass. That subtop will be 1 1/8 thick. We'll have a really nice soft knife edge on it, and it will be finished with white polyurethane finish with a matte finish on top of that. So it won't be shiny, it'll be more of a matte sheen. Power ports for this particular table are under. So it's a small table. We want to make sure that we have plenty of space for people to work. So instead of hogging up space on the tabletop with a large power box in the center where cords might be strewn about, we want to make sure that people have working space, keep the clutter at bay. So we are putting the power on the base of the table. So between each user here and at the head of the table. And so if you, oops, sorry folks, let's get back in there. So for the people seated along the length, it's right in the middle. So there's no reaching across someone's lap to access the power. You reach right or left to have power right there under the surface of the table. So in the center of the table, we're going to have a small hole. Now each of these tables will support a polycom phone, so wires need to be hidden. So we're going to have wires go through that hole and then into the base so that, again, keep things nice and clean. Also in the room, we have a hanging credenza. This is basically to support an additional phone that's in the room and have some storage for papers and pencils and whatnot. This is pretty shallow. It's only 10 inches deep. It's 60 inches long, and it's 20 inches high. The doors that we're going to use here, these doors, we actually had a conversation about this, and the decision was to create these white doors using a material called Wilson Art Traceless Laminate. Laminate is very, very durable, and the traceless feature that I just described is smudge proof. So it's actually it's a new product, a couple of years old. It's got a really nice soft touch, a matte finish, but it doesn't pick up smudges from people's fingers. So the idea being that over time, these nice white doors, if we use that material, they'll stay much cleaner and neater. We are not using any pulls on these doors. We're going to do touch latches. So because it's a tight space, we want to make sure that we don't have any hardware sticking out that might get into people's space. So on the interior, we'll have 2 shelves. They'll be adjustable, and there'll be wire management in the back, wire management on the bottom, also ventilation as well. This will help draw air through for hardware that might live inside this. And then on the top, we have 2 wood grommets that match that are there, so wires can be run into that case. So that is the top of a credenza. So we've got 2 rooms identical in their furniture, 2 rooms here identical in their furniture. So the next room I want to talk about is here. We're going to go over to the smaller of the 2 boardroom tables or conference tables. The table you're looking at here is 156 inches long, which is 13 feet. It's 54 inches wide. The table was fabricated in 2 sections, 1, 2 for the top. So let's go ahead and take a look at that space. So as we walk down the hall and we get into this room, we're going to start to sort of see what this guy looks like. So there's some subtle differences in the top of this table that I'd like to talk about. So again, same concept. wood veneer the whole feel of the table. So the interior of that table is wood veneer, quarter cut walnut, nice and straight grain, so the pattern and color is consistent the whole way. The edge of the table is solid dimensional lumber. The only difference here is we're going to make this a little bit wider. So instead of being 3 inches wide, we're going to make it 4 inches wide. Same edge profile that we have on that smaller table, just a little bit wider. Power integration on this guy is just a little bit different. So instead of having the power integrated in the face of the base, we're actually going to have that power integrated in an apron. This apron is 8 inches back from the edge. It is placed between seats again, so you can access reaching right or left when chairs are in the space. You see there, right between chairs. And then the person in the center gets one right in front, and then right between chairs again. So that is how the power is integrated. Nice and neat, tucked away, so we can keep the top of the table nice and clean. So when we have the grommets again, so grommets to support polycom. Now for this table, you're going to have polycoms with extension mics, the microphones that come off of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to have 3 grommets, 1, 2, 3. So the wires that usually are going across the tabletop to these extension mics will go down into the base and back up to keep the tabletop nice and clean and free of clutter. Let me jump ahead here. Talking about the base structure, so it's a big wire chase. So assuming the floor core will go in the center of the room, it will fall directly over this pedestal. Each pedestal will have a hatch so you can get in to get the wire management. Each pedestal will have levelers to make sure that this thing is perfectly flat when assembled. And again, it's unobstructed wire management throughout the whole table. So wires will come up the pedestal and then here left and right. These power ports that you see here, there's a wire that comes off the back, will enter a small hole cut out on the top edge, where wires will then all enter the base structure out of sight. Again, nice and clean. The credenza in the space. So what we're looking at here is a little bit different. This is not a wall-hung credenza. This is a freestanding credenza for storage only. It is 72 inches long, 18 inches deep, and 34 inches high. Credenza itself has a solid surface top. It's actually, it's quartz. It's a quartz that goes with the finishes that were selected and sort of the overall scheme of things. The credenzas have tab pools rather than touch pools. These will be polished chrome to match the chairs. The wood that we use with the same exact wood that is on the tabletops. It'll be quarter cut walnut. It's book matched the whole way around that credenza. So again, the color and the pattern of all the woods that you see in the space will be matching. As we open up this credenza, this is 2 bay, 2 adjustable shelves per bay, wire management, top and bottom. This also acts as ventilation should you want to store any power components in that credenza. Moving along, we have the largest of the spaces. So this is the main boardroom. So let's travel from a small conference room over to the larger conference room. I'm gonna wait for that to lag, I apologize. There we go, all right. So here is the large boardroom table as you're standing on the outside. Let's go ahead and get into that space. So same characteristics as the last. So this is all same as the smaller table. This is just going to be larger at 17 feet and it's 54 inches wide. A quick test rendering that I created so we can get an idea of what that looks like, more photorealistic image. You can see here what that table is going to look like in the space. You can go with trees or not trees in the room. I happen to love plants, so if you have the opportunity, put some plants in your room. All right. Again, underside, our power ports live in the apron. This interior structure of the table. And then moving on we're going to go to our last table design. And so there are 2 other breakout rooms. I believe this used to be your kitchen before the renovation. This is going to be a small 48-inch round table. Top, same features. Again, solid wood edge, perimeter around it, quarter cut walnut in the middle. With this table, we're going to have power right in the center of the table rather than putting it on the underside. It's a small table. Having it in the center, I think, is the most the best use of space considering the size of the table. This is a small drum base. Again, this is all going to be walnut. It's going to have a nice molding around the base. And then again, it's going to be hollow for wire management. So all the wires will travel through into the floor box directly below. So that, in a nutshell, is the project. So I just want to take a minute to thank everybody involved. Thank you for taking the time to view this. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to contact me, Nate at pauldowns.com, or give Ed a shout. He'd be happy to relay any questions you might have, or Susan. Yeah, we look forward to working with you. It's going to be a beautiful space. Thank you so much.